Very good evening, my dear friends, and I'm happy to be back with you again. Yesterday, we have seen about the banker's liabilities and duties, and then the most important aspect of justiciable disclosure also, and the liability which he may be fastened with thereon. Today, friends, we will deal with another important subject, that is the rights of a banker. The banker also has got rights. When we discuss about customers' rights, consumer forum, and why can't that? Banker also has got certain rights. He has got, in fact, his own rights. Friends, briefly we discuss these particular rights with the help of some important Supreme Court judgments also. The first right of the banker happens to be the right of lien. In fact, this particular right of lien, that is called general lien, is provided under section 171 of the Indian Contract Act. Lien means what? Lien means the right to retain the goods and securities owned up by the debtor and kept under the custody of the creditor as a security for repayment of a debt until the debt is cleared off. In this case, the banker happens to be the creditor, then this right can be exercised. The creditor can sell them also for recovery in accordance with the provisions of the Indian Contract Act under section 1. In fact, that is 171, and the banker also can do that. The status of a banker in case of safe custody deposit of movables is that of a bailee, and he cannot exercise this right, of course. But if the banker allows any loan on the ornaments or movables, he is called as pani or pledgee, and the provisions under sections 172 to 181 of the Indian Contract Act apply, and then the bankers also will exercise the rights along with other kinds of panis. Whatever they are entitled can be, in fact, exercised by the bankers also. Then, section 171, friends, empowers the bankers to retain as security for the general balance of account any goods bailed to them in the absence of a contract to the contrary. That depends upon the appropriate contract that has been entered into thereon. The banker, under the provisions of sections 172 to 176 of the Indian Contract Act here, can sell the goods either by taking the help of a court or giving reasonable notice to the customer by themselves, even without the court's assistance. And then the customer here is called the paner. The notice to the customer is called notice to the paner or pledger. This subject was, in fact, well emphasized and analyzed by the Supreme Court of India in Lallan Prasad versus Rahmat Ali. Lallan Prasad versus Rahmat Ali. This was reported in 1967, Law Journal 1967 to SCR, Supreme Court Review, page 233. However, friends, this right is available if the goods are entrusted to the banker as a trustee or as an agent, or a contract exists between the parties which is inconsistent with the banker's rights as stated afore under section 171 of the Indian Contract Act. Prima facie, this particular right of lien can be exercised only when the possession remains with the banker, whether it is constructive possession or actual possession, and possession is lost, this right is also lost. With regard to safe custody of deposits, documents deposited for any special purpose like the bills of exchange and documents of valuables left with the banker negligently, the securities held in trust with the bankers, then the banker exercises the right of set off. This right of lien cannot be exercised because that particular concept is totally different thereon. So friends, now the right of lien is, in fact, to be discussed in the light of the Supreme Court judgment I have told you in Lallan Prasad versus Rahmat Ali. Now the second right is right of set off. Right of set off means adjustment of mutual claims. The banker is embedded with legal as well as statutory rights to recover its monies from the customers, and the banker can combine two or more accounts in the name of the same customer and adjust the debit balance in one account with the credit balance in another account also. This is an inherent right available to the bankers from the time immemorial. This action is called the right of set-off. However, this right of set-off can be exercised only on the condition that the account must be in the same name in the same right. That is the most important thing. Further, this right is accessible in respect of debts due only. Debts must fall due. Also, the amount must be certain and there should not be any agreement to the contrary. In case of any garnishee order received from the court of law, the banker has the right to first set off his claims and thereafter surrender the remainder to the judgment creditor. This right cannot be exercised against trust accounts, the account of a guardian for a minor, and joint accounts where the debt is due from one of the joint account holders in individual capacity. So even joint accounts cannot be touched in this kind of situations. Now the third right is banker's right to recover. The banker is vested with all the remedies available to a secured or unsecured creditor to recover his dues, and the dues include the principal, the interest and other incidental and related charges. So the fourth point is, in fact, the Clayton's case, the banker's right of appropriation. In the course of the banking business, a banker receives payments from his customers, and in case of multiple accounts or loans, the appropriation of the money deposited in different lots is appropriated in accordance with sections 59 to 61 of the Indian Contract Act. The order in which the credit entries set off the debit entries is in chronological order as it was decided in the famous Clayton's case, that is Devens versus Noble. Devens versus Noble, which was reported in 1816, 35 ER 781. In fact, friends, this Devens versus Noble is a very important judgment which could be taken in the examination point of view and then an essay type question also. And in fact, everybody is supposed to read a study this particular case. And then I would like to, in fact, deal with this particular case, Clinton's case, separately, where you find that the provisions of sections 59 to 61 of Indian Contract Act, in fact, come into picture. So, friends, I will separately deal with this particular subject matter and then I will come back to you on that with facts and figures thereon. So, with that, the rights of the bankers, the discussion of the rights of the bankers is concluded, and we will meet again with Devon's case and then other subjects thereon. Thank you very much. Good night. Bye.